Hi guys, my name is Harry and welcome to my channel. So before we get started, I just want to give a little information about myself. I'm from Singapore and I've been collecting fragrances since last year. So it's around like 1.5 years already. I have around like 100 bottles now currently, mostly designer and fragrances from Dubai. So let's get started with my top 10 summer list with 2 honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is Blue Home from Amaf. So you look at this, the bottle, it's really nice. So as you guys know, Amaf is clone house and they make many great clones, and sometimes I even prefer it over the original due to its great performance and cheap price. So when you first spray it, you immediately get the Aqua di Gio vibe, and the original one, not the Profumo. So I get a very salty and aquatic vibe, very fresh and very clean. So to my nose, it's like 80 to 90% similar to Aqua di Gio, but I feel that Aqua di Gio is more smooth and more balanced out compared to Blue Home. The performance on me is like quite average. It lasts around like 4 to 5 hours and projects for around like 1 hour. So I'll have to say that this is one of my weakest Amaf fragrance I have in my collection. But I got this for like 15 Singapore dollars, so for the price point I think there's nothing to complain about. And coming out second, my second honorable mention is Teawood by Zara. So Zara has been making some incredible fragrance recently, and there's a few of them in my top 10 list. So Teawood is released this year 2017 and it's marketed as a woman's fragrances, but it smells like very unisex to me. So as the name says, Teawood, definitely you smell a lot of tea but not too much on the wood. It's a very pleasant tea smell and very herbalish scent, but if you're not a tea lover, I think you should stay out of this, you wouldn't like it. So when you first spray, you get a very intense tea note that smells really linear for the few hours before the wood starts to come out later. So the performance on this is actually really good. It lasts at least 8 to 10 hours on my skin and projects great for the 2 to 3 hours before getting closer to the skin. But I find it really hard to garner compliment with this kind of smell, so I just put it in my honorable mention. So before I get started with my top 10 list, I just want to say that Dior Sauvage is the king of compliment for summer hands down. But I won't mention it in my top 10 list because it's just too common in fragrance scene. I'll try to introduce more of the less mentioned fragrances and hope that you guys will like it. So coming out number 10 is Warrior by Amaf. So this is the bottle and there's a pouch that comes with it. So funny story is I just got this on a blind buy because I really like the name Warrior. Initially I thought that it would smell something really dark, like you know, have a heavy dose of like leather and patchouli. But after I got it, I was quite shocked that it actually smells very fresh and very citrusy. I get a heavy dose of ginger and citrus in it. It smells very fresh, like out of the shower. I like to use this when you know, I'm in the sun, playing sports, outdoor the entire day as it works the best in the heat. So let's talk about the packaging. For $15, you get a nice pouch and 100 ml of juice. So it's definitely a steal to me. This could be an everyday scent, and I occasionally wore it to the office, and you know, it's not offensive and it smells very pleasant. It's like in a YSL L'Homme clone, L'Homme type of category to me. Both have a lot of ginger and citruses. The performance wise, this lasts around like 5 to 6 hours on me and projects for like first 1 to 2 hours, and it settles down to the skin scent. So I usually go heavy on the spray for this, and it actually lasts me the entire day. So coming out number 9 is Zara. It's called Weekend till 12 AM. So this is the bottle. So this is actually a very cheap fragrance from Zara, and you know, but it's a great one. For the price I paid, I'm really actually quite surprised how good some of these cheapies are. So when you first spray this, you immediately get the mint and you get violet leaf, but you know, it smells really very smooth. Although I'm not sure that is this a clone of any other fragrances, but actually I do know that it actually smells really great and actually garners compliment. The performance on this wise is around like average on me. It lasts like 5 to 6 hours. And it projects average for like 1 to 1.5 hours before getting really close to the skin. But for the price I paid, $15, it actually is definitely a steal. I recommend it as it's very versatile in the summer, and actually it could be used for all occasions, even in the office or out for a date. So coming out at number 8 is Unique Leather by Zara. So I realized that no one really talked about this fragrance in the fragrance scene, and I actually see some reviewer mistaken this to Rich Leather, which is a clone of Creed Aventus. So I want to say that actually I do not know about this fragrance till actually one day I was shopping at Zara, and some guys just decided to take this and start spraying the air. And actually, it smells really damn good. I realized that his girlfriend or his wife was beside him, and she kept praising how good this smells like, and he immediately took the bottle and left. So I knew that at the point in time I had to grab the bottle. So when you first spray this, you immediately get a very huge burst of violet. It's very unique, but it's very smooth and actually it's quite mass appealing. So I realized that Zara fragrances always has violet note in their fragrances. And I think that the best part about this fragrance is actually the dry down. So in the dry down, you get a very smooth vanilla plus a little violet that smells amazing. I actually really like it a lot. The longevity on me is around like 6 to 7 hours, and it projects for like 2 hours. So coming out at number 7 is Chrome Legend from Azzaro. So this is actually a summer powerhouse, and I think a lot of people know about this really. I've been using for a while, and actually it's a compliment getter. On the top note, I get a lot of green apple, I get a bitter orange. Both are the great notes for the summer. So when you first spray, it might be overly synthetic and sharp, but actually when it settles down after 10 minutes, you get a very full and more rounded smell. So it smells very similar to suntan lotion in the dry down, but it smells really very good. The performance on this is also really good as well. I get at least 8 hours or 10 hours of longevity, and it actually is like 2 hours of great or even more projection. It's actually a great chippy for the summer days. So coming out number 6 is Weekend till 3 AM from Zara. So actually this is another great chippy from Zara. I actually bought it as a dual pack with the Weekend till 12 AM for $30. So I get a burst of pineapple and lavender in it. When I first spray it on at the Zara shop, I noticed a little similarity between this and Aventus. And actually I realized that it's due to the pineapple note. A lot of people say that it smells very similar to Bond Number 9, a scent of peace for him. But I actually have not smelled that before, so I didn't know if it's true or not. But I just want to say that this smells really amazing. I actually do prefer this over Creed Aventus, considering the price and the smell of it. So this might not come off as like very complex, deep, smooth, or anything like close to Creed Aventus, but it certainly you get good compliments like Creed Aventus. This is actually one of my most complimented summer fragrances, especially for the first 1 to 2 hours where the pineapple note is still very strong. The performance of this is also great, which I'm surprised. I remember when I first got it, I thought this Zara fragrances is very weak, so I go for like 8 sprays and I almost choke myself out. So the longevity of this is around like 6 to 7 hours, and actually it projects very heavily for the first 2 hours before getting really closer to the skin. But people around you will still be able to smell you when coming closer to you. So next is number 5. So number 5 is Utopia 2 by Ajima. So this is a beautiful bottle. So a little history of what I know about this fragrance. I was walking around the mall and I saw this weird shaped bottle that's like khaki green and blue color. So I decided to just spray it on. I didn't have much hope for it, but to my surprise, it actually smells really very good. So on the skin, I get like a blast of green apple and some aquatic notes. The green apple smells really thick, like a green apple syrup. It's very strong, but also not too harsh, and it actually smells very smooth on my skin. So I realized that there's a few green apple dominant fragrance in the market. And actually most of them smells like very sickening sweet or artificial, but actually this one is done just right. I really like it. The performance also is very good. It lasts for like at least 7 to 8 hours on my skin, and actually it projects heavily for the first 1 to 2 hours before settling down and becoming a sand bubble around you that people close to you could still smell you. So coming out at number 4 is from Amaf, called Vitas Carbon. So actually this is one of the hidden gem, and I actually see a few people talk about it only in the fragrance scene. So this is actually a clone of Dior Homme combined with Green Irish Street by Creed. So when you first spray it, you immediately get a heavy dose of Irish, very similar to Dior Homme, and a little bit of like Green Irish Street vibe at the start. So when it starts to settle down around like 5 to 10 minutes, more of the Green Irish Street vibe will come out, and actually you get a very smooth fare of floral and a very rich scent. So it feels like 60% Dior Homme and 40% Green Irish Street. I wore this to the office and everyone kept complimenting how good I smell. super versatile. You could actually wear it for a date. You know, it works in all seasons. The performance on this is actually super good as well. Lasts 8 to 10 hours and actually projects really heavily for the first 2 hours. And you know, get closer, but everyone still around you will be able to smell you all the way till maybe the 7 to 8 hour mark. So actually do watch out on the spray for this. So coming out at number 3. Number 3 is Burberry for men. So mine is a tester bottle, so there's no cap. This classic Burberry is like the least talked about nowadays, and actually it has become one of my favorite scent for the cooler summer and for going out for a date. So actually, you know, this smells like, you know, like you are a CEO of a company. It smells like you're mature, you're masculine, you're classy, sophisticated, and most of all, it smells very confident. So off the top, you'll get a bit of lavender, you'll get a bit of citrus from the bergamot and some woods. So I will say that this is one of the Burberry masterpiece. I really like this a little more than Burberry London, which is one of my favorite from Burberry. And especially now, you know, you could get it for a discounted price. So you please check it out, and you know, it's really, really very good in my honest opinion. I remember getting it for my friend's birthday, and he told me that every now and then when he uses it, his family and friends always compliment him. The performance of this is quite average, around like 6 to 7 hours. But it projects very well for the first 1 to 2 hours, and people around you will definitely be able to smell you, like 1 to 2 feet away. But after 2 hours, you know, you will tone down a bit, you know, but it still projects moderately for another 1 to 2 hours before it turns into the skin scent. So coming out at number 2. Number 2 is Bulgari Aqua Atlantic. So this released this year in 2017, and there's already a hype around it. But I actually believe that it's actually totally worth the hype. So when you first spray it, you definitely feel a lot of similarity between this and Dior Sauvage. You get ambergris, you get a fresh sea note, and definitely some sweetness in it. This smells actually amazing, and I really like it a lot. So you get ambergris, or I should say ambroxan, you get from Sauvage, but it's slightly toned down compared to Sauvage. It's not as sharp or in your face. You know, this is like a neutral of sweetness and freshness, and you know, it's very acceptable for people who hate, you know, too sweet or too fresh in a fragrance. So the performance of this is also really, very, very good. It's almost like beast mode to me. I remember spraying this like 3 times, and my mom actually asked me if I did like 10 sprays of this because she said it smells crazily strong on me. And this lasts for at least 10 hours on me or more. I believe it can last up to like 13 to 14 hours. And you know, actually it projects crazily for the first 2 to 3 hours. And after that, more subtle after the 3 hour mark. But people around me will still be able to get a whiff of it, even after that. So I recently wore it to the mall, and you know, in the evening, I went to my grandma's house. You know, it's after like 8 hours already, and she immediately asked me if I'm wearing a fragrance, cause she could still smell it on me. So at number 2, Aqua Atlantic. So coming out at number 1 is a more rare one. I don't see much people talk about. So this is Thierry Mugler Eau de Star. So Thierry Mugler Eau de Star was launched in 2007, and it's an oriental fragrance for women. But I believe that guys can definitely pull this off too. So when you first spray it, you immediately get a watermelon vibe, and you get some sweetness from the honey and mimosa. So you know, it has a bit of aquatic vibe to it, but it's not too much Aqua di Gio and all those fresh fragrances you see in the market currently. But more of like the freshness of the watermelon. So when you first cut it open, you know, that kind of smell, very fresh, very watery, very aquatic, not aquatic, but you know, get what I mean? It's like very watermelony. So this is actually one of my favorite Thierry Mugler fragrance, just behind Pure Tonka. The performance of this on me is beast mode. It lasts at least 10 to 12 hours. I haven't tried more than 12 hours, but I definitely, after 12 hours, people still can smell me. So I believe that, you know, this really lasts for very, very long. Like all of the Thierry Mugler line mostly lasts at least 10 hours. So you know, and it projects like crazy for the 5 to 6 hours. I remember using it outdoor, and people around me complimented that I smell really fruity and nice. So I sprayed in the morning around like 8 AM, and at like 3 PM, people around me told me that it's still projecting, and they smell it the whole time just beside me. So I know that this is discontinued, but I think it's good to check it out if you really like the smell of watermelon. This is a gem in my opinion. Yeah. So number 1, Thierry Mugler Eau de Star. So actually, this is my top 10 list for the summer, and I hope you guys like it. Please subscribe and like my video. So keep spraying, keep projecting. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.